everywhere with primeval candor. It's good to be together. Let's sing hymn number 1000 in the teal hymnal, Morning Has Come. Please rise as you are able in body and spirit.
Good morning. Welcome to First Parish in Milton. My name is Lisa White, and I'm a member of our worship committee. If you're having any trouble hearing, could you please raise your hand or message in the chat function in Zoom, and we will get it fixed. We're so glad you've chosen to be here with us this morning or to join us virtually. However your journey, whatever your heritage, you are welcome here. Your presence here on Sunday morning enriches worship for everyone. This sanctuary is made holy by your presence. If you're joining us for the first time, a special welcome. You'll find information about First Parish in your pew, and one of the greeters or I would be happy to walk you over to our social hour after the service. The work of living our faith is done both in and out of worship, so I call your attention to the announcements that came in your order of worship and are also emailed each week in the link. In particular, our Harvest Supper is coming up on November 11th at 6 o'clock in the Parish Hall, so RSVP if you haven't already and sign up to bring a potluck dish. Now let's take a few minutes to greet each other, new friends and old, and if you're on Zoom, please turn on your camera so we can, so others zooming in can say hello. Okay, this can be continued at social hour in the parish hall. We're obviously all happy to see each other. As we enter into worship, please take a moment to make sure your cell phone has been silenced. Each Sunday, we light the chalice as a reminder that hope, love, and faith still abide. Please join me in reciting our call to worship. Come, let us gather. We gather to celebrate the sacred within and among us. We come to seek spiritual growth and understanding. We strive to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and love. Together, we work to build a world with justice and compassion. Come, let us gather together.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. So today, I wanted to let you in on a little reading I was doing. It was a reading by a man named John Paul Lederach. And he was talking about the moral imagination. So how we can imagine a better world, and what does that mean? And he was talking about this idea of a 200-year present, which was really interesting. So he was imagining, as a kid, he held the hand of his great-grandmother, who was born all the way back in the 1860s. And then he was thinking about really young relatives he's met and maybe friends at church, and he was thinking of how long they might live. And so he was thinking about the span from the end of their lifetime to all the way to the beginning of his grandmother's lifetime, and how much time that was, and how big that present really was. And to be honest, that blew my mind a little bit. I was thinking about that span, and I was thinking about how I got to meet my great-grandmother, and I was thinking about how long I might live and the people I might meet at the end of my life and how long they might live, and on and on and on. And it was a really, really comforting thought for me to think of that span. So I'm going to invite us to think about that span with, of course, a little activity. So if we could take your hand and kind of form it in a circle. And this circle, no matter how young or old you are, represents your life. Okay, so we'll think about this. And then we'll maybe get it a little bit bigger. So let's think about the time that's added when we maybe include our parents, people who loved us as children. Think about all the time in their life. And then maybe we'll get a little bit bigger. We can think about, if you add to that, grandparents, elderly relatives, elderly friends, maybe people we knew when we were younger. Okay, then we add more and more. We think of great-grandparents. We think of the people who nurtured the elderly people we love. Okay, we think maybe we get a little bit bigger. We think more generations back. And then we think about the other side. We think about some of the really young people we know and all that their lives are and will continue to be. And we think about people who have not yet been born. So we get a little bit bigger. And we think of those people. And we think of their lives. And isn't that beautiful? These people have not been yet imagined. Okay, then we get a little bit bigger. We think of the people, the next people coming, maybe a few generations down, and then we're going to get even bigger. We're going to think of like 4 generations down the line, and all of their lives will be. And I don't know about you, but my arms are starting to hurt a little bit because I'm holding them up and I'm thinking of all these people, all the people we are connected to. And so as we talk today about ancestors, and with our children we're talking about roots and heritage, may we feel the weights of these people. Amen. And I'd like to join the children for our children's church programming.
So let's take a moment in stillness together. And if you want to, just think of all the people that you were just invited to think about. Breathing in, breathing out. Wishing them well in memory, in being, in the future. May loving presence breathe through you and surround you.
I invite you to join in the responsive reading. It's in the back of your gray hymnal, number 530. It's called Out of the Stars by Robert Weston. Out of the stars in their flight, out of the dust of eternity, here have we come, stardust and sunlight, mingling through time and through space. Time out of time, before time, in the vastness of space, Earth spun to orbit the sun. Earth, with the thunder of mountains newborn, the boiling of seas. Earth, formed by the sun, lit by sunlight. This is our home. Out of the stars have we come. Mystery, hidden in mystery, back through all time. Mystery rising from rocks in the storm and the sea. Out of the stars, rising from rocks in the sea, kindled by sunlight on earth, arose life. Ponder this thing in your heart. Ponder with awe. Out of the sea to the land, out of the shallows came ferns. Ponder this thing in your heart, life up from sea, eyes to behold, throats to sing, mates to love. Life from sea, warmed by the sun, washed by rain. Life This is the wonder of time. This is the marvel of space. Out of the stars swung the earth. Life upon earth rose to love.
Out of the stars we have come, stardust and sunlight mingling through time, through space. All of this, all of us here are manifested stardust, traveling through lives, through narratives, through air, through water, in earth. It's mind-boggling to think that dinosaurs breathed the air we now breathe. Neanderthal tears are a part of the raindrops and the waters. The decomposition of countless beings is part of the earth we now walk upon. We all know that we're connected in many ways, but we often ignore how deeply true this is, how profoundly interrelated we are. Every once in a while, a bit of insight breaks through. One transformative moment in our collective consciousness as humans was the new iconic picture, or the now iconic picture, of the Earth in color taken by Bill Anders of the Apollo 8 lunar mission from the moon in 1968. The photo was soon called Earthrise, which helped advance the environmental movement, seeing one sphere as both beautiful and contained in one system amidst a vast, dark space. The first Earth Day was held 16 months later. We're all connected and all sharing the same sphere, the same air, the same soils, the same waters. What we do affects the whole. What we are manifest is used, reclaimed, reformed by those who come after us. I've been speaking of physical life, but this is true as well in cultural ways, in systems of relating and spiritual engagement. We are flesh and bone and something more, ineffable, yet very real. It's good to claim that together now and again. Remembrance rituals can deepen that knowing. Remembrance can help us see where we have come from and where we might be going. It can inform us of our patterns of being, of lessons learned, of visions yet to come to life, of seeds of knowing. It's part of the conversation of our being, which says we're a part of this ever-transforming world. Not all remembrance honors. Not all remembrance heals. We can stay stuck in remembering to stay victims or to promote revenge. We can decide that memory is more important than what is happening in the present. Memories can take up so much space in our psyche that we have little room to learn or to grow. Memories can overtake our ability to see beyond a past experience, hold us hostage, if you will, in the tyranny of regret or resentment, shame or blame. Such memories can be so powerful that we do not know how to process them in our lives. It does us well to take care of how we remember, how we learn, how we honor. This is a time in our culture when we lift up the ineffable, the mysterious, the senses and imaginings that hover about our being. We welcome touching on the unknown and wonder how it is a part of our lives. The seasons are changing to less light, more gray, more dark nights. With Halloween, we invite a little play with fear. We let ourselves ponder our shadow sides and give over to the sense memory of things not visible, but very much a part of who we are. We set aside time to acknowledge the fragile veil between life and death. Several cultures call on one's ancestors and the dead during this time to honor their presence in our lives, to embrace the spirit of their being in our ways and walking. This is not only an honoring of what has brought us to this present, it is also a recognition that we are in the dance of life and death, of discovery and loss, of the unknown and newly found, of echoes and new notes. It's not just our eventual death that we're called to accept. It's also the deaths of our ancestors and loved ones. When we accept the transience of our lives, we can open ourselves up to the mysterious abiding of all that came before us. As you know, death ends a life, but not a relationship. So there is a presence of being beyond our understanding that is a part of the reality of our lives. The greatest hook, of course, is our fear of death or annihilation. We live without full knowledge of death, and that natural ignorance, why it is, what happens during it, after it, and because of it, inspires fear. We then project that fear out irrationally, thinking we can stave off death by controlling our environment. The irony is, as we concentrate on our death and the end, we cannot truly live or begin. This is where honoring the veil between life and death can strengthen our resolve to cherish the freedom to choose how we live. To cherish indeed that which influences our choices on how we live. The honoring of ancestors is one influence that helps ground our embrace of life. A common understanding of Native American wisdom is often lifted up, especially in conversations around sustainability. Oren Lyons, faith keeper of the Onondaga Nation, described it this way. The peacemaker taught us about the 7 generations. He said, when you sit in council for the welfare of the people, You must not think of yourself or of your family, not even of your generation. Make your decisions on behalf of the 7 generations coming so that they may enjoy what you have today. Vine Deloria Jr., 20th century lawyer and member of the Standing Rock Sioux Nation, spoke of the 7 generations a little differently. He brought it closer to home, describing the 7 generations as the ones that we individually feel connected to. So 3 generations in the past, our generation in the present, and 3 generations to come. In this way, the effect of decisions are close at hand, known in the lives we live, and not given to mystical imagining or even magical thinking. In this way, we see more clearly how our choices affect the interdependent web. In either case, whether projecting 7 generations ahead of us or circling the generations around us, it honors the responsibility we have to engage our lives, both given to us and shaped by us. A colleague once gave me a shirt which reads, "Be a good ancestor now." One powerful way to recognize our interconnected responsibility is to lift up the lives that have been a part of our becoming. We walk the same earth that they did, and we will leave the same earth to those who come after us. How is it that we think far too often that we got here on our own, that we're on our own? How is it that we think that we can take what we want without consideration of the effect our choices make? This is harvesting time, when we gather that which sustains us to carry us through the winter. This is true about the food we reap and the soul we keep. Unitarian Universalism is a faith that calls us to be mindful of our signature of being, how we, in our choices, celebrate life, how we, in our advocacy, use our agency for shared being, how we, in our living, dwell in the interdependent web of all existence. And each year here, except of course those couple of COVID years, we bring forth the name of a loved one which has died in this loving community. We light a candle, and if you brought a memento, we put it on the table. It is an honoring, a sharing, a celebrating of the dance of life, which we will do in just a moment. Guidance is everywhere, in our principles, in our experiences, in wisdom literature, and stories of our ancestors. May we honor them all. May we honor our lives. May we choose to be good ancestors now. So may it be. Amen. Atticus, there, thank you. Are these mics on as well? Atticus, can we have this one on? Thank you. And then we have that one on as well. What you can do is come up. Tim will play some lovely music underneath, meditative music. And if you have something to put on the table, please do. There's some lovely faces already. And then we take a candle and light it. I'm going to light this first. This is for my younger brother, Scott. Of course, there are many people that we want to honor, but try and choose one for this morning.
For my husband, Chris.
For my son's father, John.
For Andy Strang.
I was also just going to say Andy Strain, but I'll say one for my husband, Minar.
For my brother Michael.
For Rosamond Emmons, my mom. For my sister Laurel.
For my nephew, Tanguy Théardéry.
For my sister, Gabby.
For my dear friend, Roger Dumont.
For the person who believed in me the most, my dad, Wally.
John Lawrence Tucker, my uncle, 105.
For Len Butzik.
For James Harris, my husband and dear friend.
For my husband, Charlie.
For my Uncle Doug.
For Aria Cushman, my friend's baby that didn't make it after her birth last month.
One thing that a colleague once said to me in a time when we've done such deep sharing, will you breathe with me? And let's gather our hearts in the spirit of prayer. Mysterious presence of all being that connects us all in some way and that is reached out by many names and in many ways. Help us see the system of connections. Help us feel held in the affirmation of life, all of it, all cycles. In the loving presence that finds connections and offers solace. Hold us dear. Help us remember that grief is a labor of love, tendering us into a new way of being, with tears that soften our hearts to the sadness and the love. I lift up gratitude for all the lives that have touched, all the lives in here, more than we can possibly count. For all the struggles and all the reaching and all the confusion and all the understanding. We are one together somehow. And I lift up some local prayers today. Liz O'Rourke for the people who are being bombed. And also Liz for James, my friend, may he heal and be well. Let us hold on to our hopes for life affirmation, which brings an end to brutality. Let us lift up the strength that we have in each other and in our memories and in our narratives to live these delicate days, these fragile days. And let us be grateful for each other, for the love we have, for the love we give, for the love we receive. Amen.
I have a thought for parents, particularly parents of young adults. That would include teenagers, and also for people who were once young adults themselves. Okay? Pretty much everybody. Got some kind of disturbing news from my son, 18. He told me, yeah, I'm done with college. I'm going to move to another city. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to quit college, and I'm moving to another city. And my reaction was, what? And there were other words spoken, which I won't share with you. You have kind of a limbic response. You know, the whole fight or flight thing. I mean, you got a saber-toothed tiger, you got a child's future that's being threatened by the lack of a college diploma. I mean, they're really not that different as far as the reaction. Shortness of breath, heartbeat. And something weird happened after this shocking news. A kind of a stern paterfamilias avatar took over my body. This other alien self from where? My dad, or maybe my dad's dad, or, all this talk of the generations that come before. Well, I got news for you guys. It's not always the greatest message that they want to give you. I mean, they might be just feeding you your next line as suddenly you're saying things like, we all have to do things we don't want to do. And I'm telling you this for your own good. Or when I was your age, and just, is this me? Are these my words? Am I just a channel for all these other angry dads that have come before and have just gotten so crazy with their kids? And I guess the answer is, yeah, you kind of do get taken over. Because after all, you're in a new situation. You don't have, your script hasn't been, you don't have your own words. You just kind of fall back on what they said, back then. But it is a response. It's a reaction. It's not really a response. You want it to be a response. You want to kind of be the better self and rise to the occasion. And I got something else to share with you guys. None of those phrases even work. Your kid, he's not even listening. Hey, he's gone, man. He's not even there. So, in the coolness of reflection, a sort of a more tentative, perhaps more authentic voice finally came to me. One that expressed, yes, doubt and even disagreement, but at the same time, support. I mean, is it possible to say, I don't agree with you, but I'm going to do what I can, but I think you're nuts? Somehow, yes, and that is your true voice, ultimately. You probably know that Shakespeare once said that we're all just players, right? We're just acting out our role here for a short time, and we have this brief hour. And, you know, our span on earth is brief, our time with children even briefer. So what are you going to do with that time? You going to yell and stamp and scream? No, you don't want that. No, you want to take a good time with your kid, even if he's making you crazy. So I guess that's a kind of faith, isn't it, Jeff? Yeah. All right.
Today's offering is dedicated to the services and ministry of First Parish. To give, please follow the instructions printed in your order of worship or shown on your Zoom screen. And for those in the meeting house, there are collection plates at both entrances if you'd prefer to give a check or cash at the end of the service. If you are proud of this church, become its advocate. If you care about its future, share its message. We welcome all to build a just and healthy world with faith, love, and compassion. Please support our faith community by giving as generously as you can. Please join me in saying the unison dedication. May these gifts be transformed into strength for this faith community, into comfort, food, and shelter for those in need, and may we be transformed by generosity. Please stand as you're able and join in singing the closing hymn number 131 in the gray hymnal.
And as I douse the flame of our chalice, may the flame of our faith burn deep and wide within us. May we carry with us all the stories that teach, all the love that emboldens, all the wonder that keeps us going into the next day. Have a good week. Amen. Let us sing the doxology together.